Alabama voters are at the polls this morning as America closely watches to see who will become the next U.S. Senator from that state. Last night, Democratic candidate Doug Jones was accompanied by Pro Basketball Hall of Famer Charles Barkley, and he pointed out that the race is more than just about politics.
At some point, we got to stop looking like idiots to the nation.
As we all know, this election is going to be one of the most significant in our state's history in a long, long time. And we've got to make sure that at this crossroads in Alabama's history, we take the right road.
All right, Roy Moore's rally had a different tone. He fought back sexual misconduct allegations, while Steve Bannon, you know, the Goldman Sachs former Hollywood guy who went to elite schools, but he's a populist, had this to say, and Moore's wife, I don't know what the hell she was talking about.
Fake news would tell you that we don't care for Jews. So I just want to set the record straight while they're here. One of our attorneys is a Jew.
What they want him for is that corporate tax cut. That's all they want him for. As soon as they get that tax cut, you watch what happens. There's a special place in hell for Republicans who should know better.
And we're not going to stand by and let other people from out of state and money from California control this election. They said these women, too, had not come forward for nearly 40 years. But they waited to 30 days before this general election to come forward.
Okay, just help y'all out here. First and foremost, the guy standing next to Roy Moore is from out of town, Steve Bannon. Two, he is one of those limousine folks from Hollywood, which is in California. So Roy Moore was actually talking about the very guy who's standing next to them. Well, this is what happens when you're a fake populist, when you are a carpetbagger who flies into a state, who then criticizes Joe Scarborough by saying that he wasn't smart enough to get into Georgetown and Harvard, where Steve Bannon went. These are the same people who criticize elitists. But then again, Joe Scarborough went to the University of Alabama, which, of course, is located in Alabama. Tuscaloosa, the same state where Roy Moore wants to be president. So if you want to know how stupid some people are in Alabama, these idiots actually cheered Steve Bannon criticizing Joe Scarborough for not being smart enough to get into Georgetown and Harvard, which means that what he was saying is you're not smart enough to get there, so you have to go to a school where you don't have to be smart to get into, which is the University of Alabama. Anybody else confused by this? Joining us by phone, Kayla Lerner, a political reporter for Think Progress, also Dewana Thompson, creator of the WokeVote.us initiative. Kayla, it has to be befuddling to see how dumb white conservative voters are in Alabama, that they will be cheering this fake populist Steve Bannon, who made his money at Goldman Sachs and then made more money in Hollywood, yet all of a sudden he's one of the little guys.
For sure. It was definitely interesting to be at Roy Moore's final election eve rally last night. There were a lot of people wearing Make America Great Again hats, cheering on President Trump's former advisor, Steve Bannon, who, as you mentioned, flew into Alabama to give a speech at last night's rally. And Bannon himself saying that, hey, outsiders can't come into Alabama to tell you who to vote for, but I'm here and I'm telling you that you should disregard all of these women and their allegations against Roy Moore, and if you want the Republican Party to move in the right direction, he's the guy for you.
And again, you know, they're falling for it, and I'm going, this dude doesn't care about y'all at all. At all.
As you heard from Kayla Moore, the Moores have a number of black friends. They have a Jewish lawyer, so they're on your side.
Dawana, obviously you're trying to turn folks out. We've had you on the show a couple of times. What has been the response? What are you seeing on the ground there when it comes to African Americans and others?
Roland, we are so excited for this moment. This is in the tradition of my ancestors, and the state would say, the day that the Lord has made, we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. People started texting me this morning at about 3 o'clock saying that they couldn't even sleep because they wanted to get up, wake up, and woke vote. And I can tell you that that is something I have never experienced during election time in the state of Alabama. And so we have had incredible success. We have met with incredible partners on the ground. The students are excited. The church is excited. Black folk have woken up around this election, have woken up to the power that they have with their voice, what can be done. The other thing I would say is that, I think a lot of people are looking to the state of Alabama. This is not new to us. We've been looked to before to carry the moral consciousness of this country. And what I think is that Black folk are saying, we've always been more. We've always rose to the occasion. This is just another opportunity for us to do that. And I'm excited to see what we can do today. And I'm hopeful that we'll do what we need to do to push this state forward.
You had a Get Out to Vote rally on Sunday. I know last night Pastor Jamal Bryant was in Alabama trying to rally folks as well. Reverend Dr. William Barber and others. And so you've had folks, even though you have not had the resources from the national level in terms of nonpartisan groups or even the Democratic constituents, you do have folks who recognize how vital this election is.
Absolutely. This has actually been a sort of a for us, by us process. This campaign has not been funded, nor does it support any campaign or candidate. This has always been about us exercising our right, our power, pooling our resources together to push out and motivate our people. And we've seen that over the last several weeks, Roland, starting with your leadership, having this platform for us. We're so thankful to you for shining a light to the work that is being done as you've always done. And so we have people who are at the polls right now who are texting us and saying, hey, we're here, we're getting excited. I mean, my phone is going off even as I'm sitting here talking to you. And I can tell you that we feel good. And even whatever happens today, Roland, I think the seeds that have been planted in our community in terms of our activism, in terms of waking up, in terms of understanding, particularly what the young Black vote can do, what the young Black and powerful can do for their city, that is something that is going to live beyond December 12th. And that's what I'm excited about, the work that we can do on the state races and the House races in the state of Alabama next year in 2018.
Kira, are you seeing white conservative voters who may be higher educated, who may folks who may just be holding their powder, not wanting to go public against Roy Moore? But do you believe that when they go into that voting booth, they're going to say, there's no way in the world I can vote for this guy? Or are folks just going to stay at home?
I spent a day with a woman. Her name is Kim Dowdle, and she's an organizer for the group Republicans for Doug Jones. And according to her, she's been speaking with her friends and her community members, she believes that there are a lot of white women in her neighborhoods outside Birmingham who might tell a pollster that they're going to vote for Roy Moore, might tell their husband and their family members that they're planning on voting Republican. But when it comes down to pulling the lever in the voting booth, they're not going to be able to do it, and they're going to vote for Doug Jones. So take that with a grain of salt. She's been talking to people in the neighborhood, in her community, and is speaking for the people that she has personally talked to. But I do think that in a special election like this, it's very hard to predict how people are going to decide when they do enter the voting booth. And I know that in the Black communities that I've visited in Birmingham and down here in Dothan, Alabama, people are doing everything they can to get out the vote, and I have not seen that type of grassroots effort on the other side.
All right, then. Kira, we appreciate it. Dawana, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. And again, congratulations on what y'all doing down there. It certainly is paying off.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support.
All right, let's go to our panel here. Dr. Avery Jones DeWeaver, leadership strategist, author of How Exceptional Black Women Lead. Joel Payne, Democratic strategist with the Corbis MSL Group. Karen Maria Alston, founder and CEO, the Spectrum Circle. Turnout. But also, I think this is one of those cases where Doug Jones may benefit from Republicans who say, I can't vote for a Democrat, but there's no way I can vote for Roy Moore.
Yeah, let's hope so. But I tell you, if our hopes are pinned on the decision-making power of white women to choose gender over race, I'm afraid that our gooses are cooked. But, you know, so I don't hold out a whole lot of hope in terms of having a victory for Jones, but I'm open to being surprised, and I certainly hope I am.
Also, you know, if you really dig into this race, a lot of people think that Doug Jones's positions are what are going to actually make this difficult. Look at his position on the women's right to choose, which is very progressive, which I think many people maybe on this panel would applaud him for, but I don't know how that's going to play in Alabama.
But again,
so we can't understate the role that plays here as well.
Well, no, but that is the point, though. The point, though, is that you have individuals who are dead set against him. We had that ridiculous black pastor who said that Roy Moore is on the cross. He's being crucified because Doug Jones is pro-life. And so what you're saying is, I support a child molester.
Right. They care about fetuses. They don't care about children. They don't care about babies once they're pushed out and born. And there's no better example of it than this. You're exactly right. This issue of, this anti-abortion stance is going to choose a lot of, it's going to make a lot of decisions for folks. But at the end of the day, they don't care of the fact that he sit here and molested children once they were out.
The tribalism in Alabama is unbelievable. And I love that quote that if Jesus came back and ran as Democrat, he would lose in Alabama. It is unbelievable to see this, that here we are today, that we are talking about pedophilia and someone possibly being in the United States Senate.
And Trump has endorsed him, recorded robocalls for him. Senator Mitch McConnell has backtracked on this. Republican National Committee is putting money into that state. The NRA is putting money into that state. The Republicans, again, I keep trying to explain this. Democrats took out Senator Al Franken on principle. The Republican Party does not care about principle. No. They care about power. But they do not want to see 51-49 in the United States Senate. They want to hold on to this seat.
But they're about to lose Republican women outside of Alabama who are horrified.
I'm not convinced of that.
I'm not convinced of that.
I'm not convinced of that. Because those same Republican women voted for Donald Trump after the Access Hollywood tape because they could not stand Hillary Clinton. Joe, go ahead.
That's all I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, we've already seen that. We've seen a test run for that. Republicans have decided, hey, we want to win. Look at religious leaders like Franklin Graham, like those people who have decided to put their religious in check, put their religious beliefs in check, and put their faith in check to support this person.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.